Okay, good afternoon. Let's go ahead and call to order the Erie Land Bank meeting for February 21st. First order of business, I'd like to seek a motion to approve the consent agenda and meeting minutes from our prior meeting of January 24th.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that takes us then to the finance report.
Carrie, you want to give a summary on the finance reports?
Yes, so as you can see, I've updated the accounts and given certain account numbers to identify, easily identify and use them as a tool to identify different assets, liability, and their expenses. And then you'll see I've also now included the budget that's not through the financial system, so as it's being used, you can now see where your average funding source, expense, and what's remaining of the balance for your 2022 budget.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Carrie, that email back, were you able to reach out to anyone or?
Yes, so
Okay, good. So at least there's a connection there. I know they've got a lot of experience in that area. So, okay, good. Good. Do you want to take a minute to look at, we're reviewing finances.
Okay, that's fine.
Any questions on the financial report? I just want to say, Carrie, thank you for cleaning that up and assigning titles to those line items. Helps. If there are no questions or comments, seek a motion to approve the financials.
So moved.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Aaron, that takes us to citizens' comments. Do we have anyone requesting comment?
No one requests comment for this month.
Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and move on then to the report of the executive director.
All right, thank you. So I've provided an update on the 2021 work plan and then the 2022 work plan. As far as 2021 goes, we have received demolition bids, which is an item on the new business for approval of those bids. So we got 10 properties ready for demolition. We are preparing a couple other properties that came in late for bids. Those should be going out here in the near future. We're still waiting for the finalization of condemnation on 3 of the properties. One of note, 552 East 24th Street. That was one of the condemnations, but it was also a add to the judicial tax sale in February of 2021 from 2020. There was a lady who had purchased that property with the intent of rehabilitating it to live in the property. So we're kind of working with her and her attorney to possibly come to an agreement with the redevelopment authority for relinquishment of that property, given that if she meets the necessary list of criteria that we've given her to meet that possible relinquishment. So that one may end up back and never actually be transferred to the redevelopment authority. And then 708 Payne, the demolition bids for that are due February 24th. That includes the asbestos abatement due to being a commercial property or former bar. Any questions on that?
Just taking notes, and that bid will include the abatement then on that. Okay.
And then on the 2022 work plan, not much has gone on here. We're still working on identifying a list of properties from the blighted property list for acquisition, working with code enforcement and planning department on that. These have not been transferred to the redevelopment authority yet. They had the hearing last Wednesday, the 16th, so that the judicial tax sale can finalize the transfer of these properties. Attorney Sundberg couldn't make it today. He did send out a update that there's 8 or 9 of these properties had deceased individuals, so he's got to file a quiet title action to clear that. It'll take a little bit more time, but it should go fairly smoothly,
Okay.
so.
That was going to be one of my questions here, so he's going to just, in a blanket, just file to quiet all of those at once then?
Yes, one property identifying every property, or one filing identifying every property owner to
All right,
give
that's
them
good. That
notice.
should limit random
Yes.
claims flowing in out of left field
Yeah.
months later, so, okay, good.
That's all I have.
So Aaron, you need a motion to approve these demo bids?
Once we get, when we get down to demolition days, we can.
All right.
And I did include Gene's report there on those properties.
That's what this is.
Yeah, that's a solicitor's report. So it just entails the status of those properties, how they've worked through the title searches on those to identify anything that McDonald Illig might have missed, to make sure that we're getting as clean of a title as we can. And then with the change to the inheritance statute a few years ago, that's the reason for the quiet title action.
That's usually where you see it. A family member finds out somewhere, and then months later, they make a claim, so.
Yeah,
Good,
which has happened in the past.
yep. Okay. Any questions on executor's report?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, and Gene's not here, so was that also his report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's move on to unfinished business and new business.
All right, so we received we bid out 10 properties for demolition. I provided you guys with the winning bid tabulation for those properties. They came in fairly decent, what we would expect. A couple of them, the higher $7,000 properties, they're properties that are close to other properties or in a situation where it's going to take them extra care to make sure they don't damage anything or provide traffic control. So fairly happy with the prices we got. We had tremendous participation. We had 8 bids on every property, so the participation is there. So as we bid out these other ones, I'm sure that some of these will be very competitive. So most of these were lost by the second bidder by hundreds of dollars, not very much. So, but just asking for approval of those so we can put together contracts for those individuals.
Any questions or comments on the demo bids? If not, seek a motion to approve the demo bids.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Aaron.
All right, so we acquired 1958 Prospect through condemnation as part of the 2021 work plan. It's a decent single-family property. It's got a newer roof, new vinyl windows, has a little bit of damage on the inside due to some water issues. But the thought is back in October, in talking with the Tax Claim Bureau, of course they ask if there's anything, we would like with any of the repository properties that they have. And, so looking at that list and that, lo and behold, the property next to 1958 Prospect is on the repository list. So as part of looking at how we're going to convey that property, we're going to look at the property as far as what we could possibly do to rehabilitate it. It's in fairly decent shape. It might, for $20,000, be able to get rehabilitated by the land bank and made available for an owner-occupant, ownership opportunity. Well, the lot being small, we can acquire that lot from repository. I talked to Attorney Sundberg. He said it's not an issue to combine the 2 lots, make it 1 lot, and we convey it to a homeowner who will now have a decent-sized piece of property and a decent home to live in. So, and then it takes a property off of the repository list and helps them out as well. So I'm just requesting approval to seek to acquire that lot and then join it with 1958 Prospect.
I think it's a great idea. Yep. more of that. Let's do more of that.
Right, no, I
That would be
absolutely
great.
agree.
It's ideal.
Yeah,
Anytime we can have that happen. I'll make a motion to acquire the neighboring lot to 1958 Prospect from the repository.
yeah, it has no address.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Other business?
That is all I have. Oh,
Got to give something to
I'm
the
sorry.
cameras.
Yeah, right. One thing, working through the ethics and the policy we were working on late last year, I sent some revisions over to Attorney Sundberg's office for them to make some final revisions. Hopefully I'll get that back this week, and then I'll send it out to you guys again for final revision, hopefully to have that on the agenda for the March meeting, so we can get that finally approved and added as part of our bylaws and policies and procedures.
Good. One of the things I thought it might be good to put on our radar is looking at ways that maybe we can tie some of our activity to a lot of the funding structure that ERA is putting in place. Like formally tying something, advertising, programs that we can customize to help finance acquiring a side lot, finance fixing up a home. I don't really know what that looks like yet, but I think we should try to tie together everything that you're working on the finance side to what we're doing and offering those flexible loans or however that may look, or those grant programs, and at least incorporating that into our advertising.
Yeah, you're thinking as far as someone purchasing a lot and then rehabilitating it, or purchasing a house and
Yeah,
rehabilitating it as an
I think
owner?
it would be both. I think we ought to prioritize some of that funding, financing that we've talked about, the flexibility of that, to someone who is looking at one of these properties that has potential. And of course, we'd have to underwrite that, take a look at them, make sure that they have the capacity to do that. But I just wanted to maybe start giving some thought as to how do we tie what you're working on with this activity, in terms of how do we tie it together with advertising and formally applying for that financing. So that's something we can flush out over the few weeks or months coming up as you develop those programs.
Right. Because one of the things that has come up multiple times over the last several months in talking with individuals, and developers who want to buy a property and develop it, a lot of times they are, a guy who's just, getting into real estate investment and he doesn't have the ability to finance the rehabilitation in a
And they're
timely
not
manner.
bankable either.
Yeah, it's just a matter of having maybe a finance mechanism in place to fund that redevelopment so that we can get it turned around quicker instead of waiting, a couple of years for them to, do it if they get money in their paycheck and on the weekends.
Right, it's causing an issue there, they're not bankable, and if they are able to pull equity from some other property, that's causing issues too. So I think it would be a really good use of some of those loan and grant programs that you're putting together to figure out how to strengthen that tie between the two. So maybe over the next few weeks or months, we can sketch that out.
Okay, yeah.
Any other random thoughts or comments? Just 2 months in a row, we're just
I know.
Short.
flying right through this.
Now, the other, also, want to get back, and then as soon as I get some time, circle back on the policies as far as donation of properties and how the land bank, looks at those moving forward, because, I do get quite a few, requests for the land bank to accept a donation of a property, and unfortunately, a lot of times they are tax delinquent. So I've been looking back at some of what the land bank had done in the past as far as accepting donations, try to get a baseline as far as, kind of how it was approached before. There's, I think, 1 or 2 that were done before, and kind of get some feel from other land banks as far as what they do, so that I can provide as much as I can to you to make a determination on how the Erie Land Bank wants to proceed or look at those property donations, moving forward.
Yeah, sooner the better. That's been an issue hanging out there.
Well, and I think the overall goal, though, is to make sure that these properties can get put back into productive reuse. What we don't want is to have land that we're having to sit on for so long.
Right.
So acquisition, rehabilitation, get it out, get it through the pipeline and back into someone else's hands
Mhm.
has got to be the end game for everything that the redevelopment authority and the land bank are doing. So I know it becomes a little challenging when you've got high priority properties, they're nuisance properties, something needs to be done, but there's not a clear reuse for them. That, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, and I think, the comment that was made last Monday at the board meeting, and that, if we can get to the point where we have the staffing to facilitate it, that we approach the neighboring property owners if we are looking at a one-off, blighted property, that maybe we try to secure and get in place a purchase agreement for the lot prior to the acquisition of it, so that we aren't holding it
Oh, right.
for 5, 6, 20 years.
Yeah,
You know.
become more of a facilitator.
Mhm.
Yeah, get that agreement.
That's really, we don't need to own it. We don't want to own
Right.
everything.
Right.
So, yeah, if we can get more into being a conduit, a facilitator, and again, that goes back to the financing too. I mean, this all can become how you build out the ability to facilitate,
Mhm.
not hold. So,
Yeah, I mean, our property list, it's not as large as the redevelopment authorities, but it's growing, and with every work plan we get, it's gonna continue to grow unless we figure out something to do with all those side lots.
How many does the land bank?
Oh, where's that question? I think right now it's somewhere in the upper 20s as far
Quite a
as
few.
lots. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, there's
We've
a
got
few
a-
that we thought would end up being optioned by a neighboring property owner that they never ended up putting in a proposal for. So again, it's probably turns more into one of those they can just use it for free.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, I can see this spiraling quickly.
Yeah. Well, we've got 100 in the redevelopment authority
Yeah.
alone. It's
Yeah,
got
this is
100.
gonna, yeah, so however we can structure this to be more of a facilitator and a conduit's gonna help us.
mhm.
So I don't know, if you want to have conversations before the next meeting or any kind of structure, sketching things out, get to the financing aspect of it, or if Gene wants to jump on a call, but I'd like to start putting us in a little different position where we're just playing facilitator. It's almost like once you take it, and once you own it, you're just,
It's going to sit there.
yeah, because if I'm living next door too, I know that I can just have my kids play on it. I don't have to buy it, and that's not the intent here.
Yeah, no.
So really, anywhere you have the disposition plan as a side lot, those are most likely going to just be vacant lots that we have to hold.
Yes, and I know, on the 2021 plan there, probably about 4 property owners have already reached out, can I buy that lot, and then we've sent them side lot proposals, but that still leaves a considerable amount, 10 or so off the list that will be a question as we move forward.
I mean, that's where we could come in and do 0% loan out of your structure that you're putting together, 1% or whatever, to help incentivize them to do the right thing and actually buy it.
Is there an issue with the cost of actually, what is the cost of a vacant property?
Right now, a side lot is, the minimum land bank price is $500 for a lot that sits mid-block. So, and then we waive the transaction fee for a neighboring property owner. So it really comes out to $500 plus filing fees and tax, so 560, I believe.
So is it not is it cost prohibitive for them, or is it just, you think most of them are, they
Yeah,
don't want to pay the taxes?
I think they
once-
don't want to pay the taxes.
Yeah, I'm thinking more rehab.
Yeah,
Right.
well, this is
Especially.
Prospect is a great project. That's a great example of, if we could do more of those.
Yes.
Or yourself, you're combining them, and then they're making them more
Right.
marketable.
And when you look at the 2022 work plan, We have, through here real quick. 43032 Cascade is the old Kelly Downs bar on the corner of 5th and Cascade. That could have some reuse potential. Cut off. There's 1721 Fairmont Parkway, which it cut the address off there. That Pluckett Howard, one of the deceased properties. It's a nice little single-family property, large lot with a 3-car garage. Certainly a investment there. 616 Payne is a decent 2-unit. It's got a little bit of a roof issue. We haven't been inside yet, but hopefully it's not too bad. And then Woodlawn Avenue, which is the one under the parkway there, is another 2-unit property with a 2-car garage in the back. Decent shape, got some porch issues, but certainly some properties there that have some potential for redevelopment. So I think it's
How much are we talking? The taxes on these lots wouldn't be a few
Anything.
bucks.
I think around about $150, $170 a year between county, city, and school. It's not a lot. I mean,
But even if you had someone dedicated to just working on those vacant lots, going out, meeting with them, I mean, that's also another problem.
yes, yeah.
You reach out to them once, and you don't have time to continue to reach out to 125.
No, and then most of our outreach for sales is a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
And I think if staff time permitted, or for somebody to go out there and talk to the neighboring owners and try to get them to agree to a purchase, I think would help move some of them
Yeah.
down the road.
I think so too.
Because even if you tried to modify alerta where you would waive the taxes on a vacant lot, there's not,
It's
it's
nothing.
pocket.
It's pocket change.
Yeah, our 50-50 split on those lots is I mean,
Yeah.
$50-$60 a year. It's
Right.
It's very minute compared to trying to get one that's rehabilitated. I mean, we're going to get a little bit more revenue off of 1958 Prospect for the next 5 years than we would a vacant lot.
Let's just think about the financing component of trying to redevelop these, like really flexible. I don't know if it's 0%, until they have the structure in place. I don't know, but there's got to be a tie here with some of that, I would think. I'm not sure what that is right now, but it's just something to think about. Any other business?
No?
Okay. Comments, questions from the board? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, Chris.